So this is a video on how to read a caliper and a micrometer. And I'm going to do an example of each for you. And these examples are actually two of the problems that are going to be on the assignment in Canvas. It's in there as a Jamboard. So you should be able to access that pretty easily. And so let's just take a look at these. So the pictures you see in front of you, these are the first two problems on the Jamboard assignment. I'm only going to do one of them. I'm just going to go ahead and do number 2 with you. So the way you read a caliper is you look first at the slide scale and you say, what's the largest number I can see on that sliding scale? And let me, just to be clear, I'm going to highlight it in red for you. There you go. That's the scale we're looking at. And so the largest number in this case that I can see on that scale is a 0. I'll go ahead and highlight that too. There's my 0. I can't see a 1, a 2, a 3. So I'm going to start with 0. And this caliper is measuring in inches. You do want to make sure that you're clear on the units. And if I look up on the dial, it shows me 0.001 inch. And that means I can read out to 1/1000th of an inch. And I'm going to start with 0 inches because I'm not even to the 1, and then I'm going to put my decimal point. And then I'm going to say how many of the smaller numbers on my scale, each one of those is 1/10 of an inch, can I see before I come to the line, the black line up, or the indent, if you want to think of it that way. And it looks like I can see up to the 5. So I'm going to put a 5 in the 10ths place. Now to get the 100th and the 1000ths, that's where I come over to the dial and I look at my arrow and I say, how far beyond 0 am I? And it looks like I'm exactly 2. So I'm going to put 0, 2. And then to indicate this is in inches, I'm going to put IN for inches. So the reading on this caliper is 0.502 inches. And that's how you read a caliper. Okay, so let's take a look at how to read a micrometer. I'm going to do 2 of them for you because the micrometer is a little bit more involved, but not much. The advantage to these micrometers is over a Dow caliper is that you can read out to a 1/10,000th of an inch because it has a third scale on it called a vernier scale. So you're always going to start when you read a micrometer, you're going to start with what's called the barrel. So I'm going to label that. It's that bottom scale. So that's my barrel. I'm going to start there. And then I'm going to move over to the thimble scale. And we'll talk about the precision in just a second of each of these scales. So I'm going to read the thimble scale. And then the last thing I read is what's called the vernier scale. Or veneer, if you will, scale. Okay, so if we take a look at these, again, this is in inches. And I realize it's not marked in my picture. But this is inches, and on a real-life micrometer in the lab, it would be marked for you so that you would know you were dealing with inches and not metric or millimeters. So if we start at the barrel scale, the thing you want to remember about these micrometers is they run from 0 up to 1 inch. So these are for measuring things that are smaller but with great precision. So something only up to 1 inch in length, say. So from the barrel then, the largest number that I can see on the barrel is a 5. So I'm going to start with 0.5. And then you'll notice that there are 3 lines, but really 4 jumps to get from, say, a 4 to a 5. So each of these smaller lines, separating the larger numbers, is a distance of 0.025 inches. So the next thing you want to do to get the next part of your reading out to 1/1000th of an inch is you go to the number that you've just recorded and you ask yourself, how many small lines can I see beyond that number? And in this case, I can only see 1, so that's 0.025. So I'm going to just tack on 0.25 there, okay? Now I'm going to go to the thimble scale because I notice that really, clearly I'm beyond, if I look at this space right there, clearly I'm beyond the 0.025. How much beyond that is going to come off the thimble scale. So the thimble scale, I'm going to look at that scale And the way I'm going to read that is I'm going to come back over to the barrel, and I'm going to go to that line that's lined up with 0. Wow, I'm doing a really bad job drawing that. Let me try to do a little better there. So let's do that again. So let's come across, right across here. And you're going to say, which line on the thimble does that line seem like it's lined up with? But not necessarily the closest. Your barrel scale line that I just drew in red has to be above the line on the thimble. So if I think about my thimble, this clearly lines up with 15, then this would be 16, this would be 17, and then 18. But I see that I'm not quite to the 19. So I'm going to add to the number that I've recorded already, 0.018. And I'm going to erase for a moment because I need room to show you that addition. So let's rewrite this. We had 0.525 coming off of the barrel, 0.525 coming off of the barrel. And now from the thimble, we're going to add 0.018, okay? You have to go all the way around the thimble to add a full 0.25. We didn't go all the way around. We only got back around to the 18, so that's 0.018. And now the last number we're going to read is going to be the easiest one because that's going to come off the vernier scale. And we can see that they've highlighted in this app, what they do is they highlight in pink what number from the vernier scale most closely lines up with your thimble lines. And so if I look very closely, I'll see that they highlighted in pink, and I'll go over it again in red, the line coming from the thimble over to the barrel. The one that lines up the best is an 8, so I tack on another 8. And now I'm ready to just add. So I'm going to have an 8, 5 and 8 is 13, write your 3, carry your 1. I'm going to get a 4, and then a 5. So my final reading here is 0.5438, and again, that's in inches, okay? Let's do another example. So if I look at number 8, I see that the largest number I can see there is a 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put 0.1, tenth of an inch. And now the question is, it looks like I can kind of see that first line beyond the 1. How do I know that I actually can't see that full line and that I shouldn't tack on a 2.5? That's where I want to come over to my thimble scale, okay, over to this scale right here, my thimble scale. And I want to look at where that's lined up with my barrel line. And I notice that if this is the 20 line right here, then this is 21, 22, 23. I didn't get back around to the 0, so that would be a full 2.5. That's how I know not to count that line that would be the 0.25. So I'm actually only going to I'm going to put 0, 0 after the 1 because I can't even see that first line, but then I will add on to that 0.023, okay? And now the last number I should add is going to come from my vernier scale, okay? And again, that is going to be where the pink line, and I ended up tracing over it in red, but that's where the pink line lines up with the thimble and the barrel scales line up. And in this case, it looks like they line up exactly at 0. So I'm just going to tack on a 0 there. And then, of course, if I add, I'm going to get 0, 3, 2, 1. So I actually get 0.1230. And again, that's in inches. So that's your lesson on how to read a micrometer. If you have any questions, you can email me. We can do a Google Meet, or just email me questions. Have a good day.